He has tapped into a part of the electorate that is, I think, deeply angry about the state of the economy.
How stupid are the people of Iowa? How stupid are the people of the country to believe this crap?
You know, this guy's just saying what people are thinking.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
Trump's statement is a dangerous proposal that overrides history, the law, and the foundation of America itself.
You're kidding. Donald Trump, full throttle, ready to destroy anyone who gets in his way.
That was a clip from the documentary Citizen Trump with Chris Matthews, which premieres tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern on MSNBC. More than anything else, Donald Trump has caught the attention of millions this election season, and this MSNBC original documentary traces Trump's career and the events that led to his presidential run. And joining me now to talk about all of this is the man himself, Chris Matthews of Hardball. Thank you so much for your time, sir. What did you learn about Mr. Trump when you put this together and compiled this? What is he hitting at?
Cojones, guts, nerve, chutzpah, the ability to almost like Muhammad Ali, to say I'm going to do something, then do it. And he's always been, people have always been skeptical about him. This thing about how much is he really worth, that stuff's always been going on. Is he really as good as he seems, as he says he is? That's always been going on, and yet he keeps plowing forward. And this thing that using that Yiddishism the other day, there's always one of those things, too. There's always some problem of 10 minutes ago, something he just said. And so there's a recurrence to the guy and a reality to him. And what I think we found out was that there's more to Donald Trump than what he said 10 minutes ago. And unfortunately, the media coverage, we have to cover news. And the news on Donald Trump is always what he just said, when in fact, he has been a builder. He's not just a debater or a one-line artist like some of the other guys.
If you go back to 2008, in the election of President Obama, everybody thought that we were now coming into a post-racial society, that hope and change was going to carry the day, that the divisions that had just ravaged the country for the past decades would seemingly start to go away bit by bit by bit. The opposite has happened. It seems the country's gotten more divided, more angry. What happened along the way here that Trump was able to tap into? Was it politicians trying to use President Obama's election for cynical purposes, or was the electorate totally misunderstood in 2008?
Well, there's so many things going on. I think all these police shootings have been one thing, and driving while black and all those things we worry about, and the incarceration rate is one area. I'm not sure that's related to Obama. The idea of having an African-American president in that building there disturbs about 10 or 20% of the country. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt those people are looking to Trump. There's no doubt about it. But he's doing better than that. There's something else going on in the country, a failure of the political establishment we all grew up with, the failure to deal with it. You can say illegal immigration is not a problem. Well, to a lot of people, it is a problem. You can call it undocumented workers. You can euphemize it all you want. And a lot of people say, you know what, you're just coming up with a clever new word for it. It's a problem. You could say that trade's not a problem, but if you live in the big cities and you used to get a job at Bud or Boeing or one of those companies, like our parents and uncles did, those jobs aren't there anymore. So the working guy doesn't have a job anymore. And so you say those aren't a problem, they are a problem. So a lot of these wars, you say these stupid wars we've gotten into like Iraq, where the working guy has to go out there and fight these wars and get killed and get dismembered and lose family time for years at a time. You say that's not a problem? It is a problem. And who bears the brunt of that? The working guy. All the time the working guy takes the hit. The elite that can move around with Ivy League degrees and move around, they don't care. I got enough degrees to handle any economic change. But the average working guy can't. He's stuck. And so a lot of it's economics, and it's also nationalism, a sense that the elite running our country don't protect the individual American citizen. They don't look out for them. They don't look out for them in trade, war. They're not looking out for them. They're not looking out for the average worker out there. That average worker says, these big shots are all buddies with each other. They're all hanging out with each other. The media are all part of it. And they're all elite, and they have great educations. And I'm stuck out here making the same money I was made 30 years ago. And I'm ticked about it. He talks to that guy. Trump has another skill.
Revivalist, I would argue.
Well, some of it, you know, but look, you know politics as well as I do. And let me tell you, when you listening is, we all listen with our tongues. We all talk a lot, but we listen to the way people react to what we say. And they go out into crowds, and you watch Trump. He is watching and listening to every reaction to what he says. He doesn't do this Hillary thing of pointing at Bill always did. Remember that political thing? Hey, how you doing? Completely phony stuff. What he does is he wants, hey, am I right? Am I right? I'm right, right? And he's back and forth, and it's interactive. And he hears the audience, and why do you think he's good at it? Now, he makes terrible comments like this Yiddishism the other day. He makes mistakes, and he's going to have to get past them. But there is an amazing interconnectedness between him and those crowds, and you can see it right there in that picture.
You're a history guy, and I wanted to ask you this. If you look at successful insurgents in the past, people who seemingly came out of nowhere, but they were representing a segment of the population that felt jilted. You have Ross Perot, and you have George Wallace at the presidential level over the last decade.
And also Goldwater and McGovern.
Sure, but where does Trump fit in? Is he more Ross Perot? Is he more George Wallace? Or is he a mix of both? He's
more Ross Perot. He's more, well, there's always a piece of George Wallace in American political life. Race is there. I would say he's non-ideological because when he says he's no hawk, he hates the Republican Party's policy towards getting into every one of these businesses. Like, we got to go fight in Syria. He says, let Putin do it. And he's very much against the hawks. So he doesn't fit with the Republican establishment, which is hawkish. I don't find him easy to figure out. I would say nationalist. Now, maybe we haven't had one of those in a while. And they can be scary. A nationalist can be scary. But if you're not a nationalist and you don't look like one, sometimes Obama comes off as too cool for school. Too international, too much in the global loaning. He loves trade. He loves dealing with Cuba. He loves dealing with the climate issues and all those issues internationally. That's very big picture. The average guy out there says, get back on the ground with me where I live. I'm making $70 a year. Look out for me, buddy. And focus on my job and my career, my kids' careers. They didn't go to college either. So I think the president, in being a bit up here, has left the ground below him wide open for Trump.
Well, it airs
tonight. That's what we talk about.
Citizen Trump. It airs tonight, 7 p.m. on MSNBC.
That's, by the way, Nuke. It's his favorite movie, Citizen Kane. I don't know whether tonight's going to be his favorite movie or not. We'll see. Mixed reviews from him. I suspect
he'll watch it quite quickly.
I expect we'll be hearing. When do you think the first tweet will come from him? 8:10.
Oh, at least. There's not a chance in the world he doesn't watch this live. The final Democratic debate of the year is in the books, and while national security issues were front and center, Senator Bernie Sanders made a point to address the data breach into the Clinton campaign's voter information file.
Does Secretary Clinton deserve an apology tonight?
Yes, I apologize.
Secretary Clinton, do you accept?
Not only do I apologize to Secretary Clinton, and I hope we can work together on an independent investigation from day one, I want to apologize to my supporters. This is not the type of campaign that we run.
Following the apology, Sanders has also suspended 2 more staffers for the breach. But just how much damage this will do to Clinton or Sanders, well, that remains to be seen. Joining us now is Senator Sanders' campaign manager, Jeff Weaver. Jeff, thank you so much for the time.
Hey, happy to be here. I really appreciate it.
I want to read what NBC News' first read put out this morning about this episode, and here it is from the DNC. As a result of this after-action analysis, NGP Van, that's the vendor that deals with this campaign data, found that campaign staff on the Sanders campaign, including the campaign's national data director, had accessed proprietary information about which voters were being targeted by the Clinton campaign, and in doing so violated their agreements with the DNC. And so it raises the question, does the Sanders campaign still have this summary data, proprietary information? And if so, is it going to give it back? Mr. Weaver, do you still have it, and are you going to give it back?
Well, we are involved in an internal investigation right now. Obviously, if we have any data, we will certainly turn it back. We don't want it. You may know that back in October, there was a similar problem with the DNC's firewall, which we noticed, where campaigns had access to each other's voter ID information, which we alerted them to and told them that they had to get it fixed. You know, we certainly didn't make any use of data in that case, and we're not going to make any use of data in this case. Look, we have our own models. We have our own modeler. We have one of the best modelers in the country, and we're going to rely on our own modeler. Now, clearly what these staffers did was wrong, absolutely. We're going to figure out everybody who was involved. That one person's been fired. 2 more have been suspended. And the question is here, you know, did we respond forcefully and do the right thing? The answer is yes, and we're continuing to do that. We're going to continue this investigation until we find out exactly what's going on. We had a little bit of trouble doing it, in part because we were shut out of our system by the DNC, and so that made it difficult for us to do our investigation earlier. There were a number of documents that were released by the DNC, technical documents, which I know people in the media had, that the Clinton campaign had, but that were not provided to us until a late Saturday afternoon, right before the debate. So, we were held back a little bit in this, but we are going forward. We're going to find out the truth, and we're going to deal with it.
But it's fair to say you do not know at this time if your campaign still has the summary data and proprietary information referenced?
Well, I mean, I can't tell you for sure because we're not done. We have certainly not found anything to date, but we are continuing to look, and we're going to leave no stone unturned. We've requested additional technical information from the DNC that will help us in that investigation. So we are moving forward. We are committed to leaving no stone unturned and finding whatever there is. If there is anything, we will certainly turn it back over, 100%.
Do you think the DNC has treated you fairly? Are they tipping the scales for Hillary Clinton?
Well, I think in this case there was a severe overreaction by the DNC. I mean, cutting off a grassroots campaign from its list of its supporters, from its list of information it needs to go door to door, to call people on the telephone, when we're so close to an election, when we were completely cooperating with them, really was overkill. I mean, it really amounted to a death penalty for our campaign, which is why we had to go to federal court. We certainly did not want to do that. We wanted to handle this event like what happened back in October when we discovered a problem with the DNC's firewall. We went to them, told them about it. It was done quietly. We went to them again. We were in communication with them this time. We certainly didn't go to the media. I don't know who did. But, this could have been handled in the same way, but some people decided to escalate it in the public arena.
Do you think there's favoritism from the DNC for the Clinton campaign?
Well, certainly some have raised that. I mean, given the debate schedule, that's been widely criticized as having been, a truncated debate schedule. We had debates scheduled on Saturdays. So we had a debate Saturday night, the Saturday before Christmas. I think if you look at at least the initial information about the viewership was a fraction of what it is for many of the other debates. And it makes it very, very difficult for insurgent campaigns or campaigns of candidates who are not as well known nationally to get the word out, to tell people about their agenda and where they want to take the country when you have so few debates.
I want to ask you, Janae, thank you so much for your time. One thing that your organization has pointed out, and it's backed up statistically, is that there are troubling trends for what happens to people of color once they are in police custody. Can you talk about that and actually the lack of data that law enforcement makes available for those individuals?
That's right. There's an unfortunate dearth of information and data and research on the number of African Americans and Latinos who die at the hands of police, who are either unarmed or armed, but who wind up perishing under very suspicious and concerning circumstances. There is no mandate that police departments across the country keep this data statistically. We've demanded that this data be collected, that it be tied to federal funding, and that it's broken down, it's disaggregated by race, by age, by gender, by sexual orientation, and other categories that are of consequence, so that we can ensure that our law enforcement is enforcing laws and dealing with the public in a way that is fair and just. Without that information, we can never know. And the only reason why we are here today talking about Sandra Bland is because there was video footage of that stop, and it eventually rose to get some national prominence. Otherwise, this would have been another unknown statistic among many who have been killed at the hands of police without much fanfare.
I think what's so striking to so many people is that the expectation many are taught is that if you are around police or you are in police custody, you might be in trouble, but at least you are safe. You are with those who are supposed to be enforcing the laws. But if you look over the course of the year, Freddie Gray, Sandra Bland, there's this area where nobody knows what exactly happened behind closed doors, where you're getting conflicting accounts. Aside from data, we talk about police cameras. What more can be done for more accountability between the time of an arrest and the time of an arraignment?
Well, we think it's incredibly important to have the footage and data that have surfaced in many cases. And you're right, there is a real fear among people who, and particularly people of color, who get stopped by police. I think that explains why Sandra Bland did not want to exit the vehicle when the officer insisted that she did. Not only was it baseless, but I'm sure that she feared for her safety, and rightfully so. I think what we can do is ensure that we're not only looking for individual accountability. That's, of course, extraordinarily important, and the family deserves that, and anyone else who cares about this individual young woman who died, unfortunately, should have that. But we also need to be looking at systemic and structural issues within law enforcement. And there has been a request for a pattern and practice investigation of the Waller County Police Department, of the State Trooper's Office, and that needs to happen in places like Waller County that has a deep and long history of racial discrimination, not just in areas of policing, but in politics and many other areas of society. And we need to be looking at this holistically, not just seeking that solitary indictment. That is just the first step to look at this broad issue that we're seeing on our TV screens every day.
Now to talk about all of this is the man himself, Chris Matthews of Hardball. Thank you so much for your time, sir. What did you learn about Mr. Trump when you put this together and compiled this? What is he hitting at?
Cojones, guts, nerve, chutzpah, the ability to almost...
Clip from the documentary Citizen Trump with Chris Matthews, which premieres tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern on MSNBC. More than anything else, Donald Trump has caught the attention of millions this election season, and this MSNBC original documentary traces Trump's career and the events that led to his presidential run. And joining
he has tapped into a part of the electorate that is, I think, deeply angry about the state of the economy.
How stupid are the people of Iowa? How stupid are the people of the country to believe this crap?
No, this guy's just saying what...
Dangerous proposal that overrides history, the law, and the foundation of America itself.
You're kidding. Donald Trump, full throttle, ready to destroy anyone who gets in his way.
That was a...
People are thinking.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
Trump's statement is a